Video games, the digital realms of infinite possibilities, which have evolved far beyond our wildest imaginations. From the humble origins of Pong to the breathtaking landscapes of modern day masterpieces, the artistry and innovation in gaming continually redefine what it means to actually play. But this is a video about the evolution of video games. It's just a tier list. Starting off strong with Toy Story 3 for the PSP. A game truly ahead of its time. You got platforming, diverse locations, multiple characters to play. Woody has a whip. It is a game that almost perfectly captures the brilliance of the actual movie.
Get rid of that monkey.
Call it a masterpiece that has yet to be acknowledged by the masses. That being said, the game is mid. Jesse's jump animation sucks. Red Dead Redemption. Now, I'm glad I played RDR2 first, because it is a sequel that is a prequel. And if I ever do play the original RDR, I technically be playing it in the correct order. It is getting kind of challenging though, considering how little effort Rockstar seems to be putting into their ports. Prototype. Now, Prototype is one of the very first PC games that I ever played, right next to Angry Birds and Plants vs. Zombies. It's an incredible game that for once allows you to be the boss, like literally, you are the main antagonist of the second game. I mean, you could grab a random NPC, execute, and fucking consume them, and if you thought that that wasn't sick enough already, you can also take up their fucking appearance. What the fuck? I mean, don't get me wrong, for 2009, that's an incredible feature. Only thing that's missing, you being able to live their life, seeing their family go to their jobs. That's actually really fucked up. What the fuck am I thinking? Super Hot is an amazingly creative game. It's one of the first ever games that I pirated. It's a game where whenever you move, time will move normally, and when you stay still, time will move extremely slowly, which allows you to actually pull off some extremely cool John Wick type moves. And yeah, it was just overall a really cool experience. Gotta say, better in VR though. Skyrim, masterpiece. A world of dungeons, dragons, and decisions where you can choose between opposing sides, even more opposing sides, or put a bucket on people's heads and rob them.
The detective. Oh. What the fuck?
Fallout 4 is a game that I bought and did not continue because I was thinking in my head that, hey, it would be a great idea to stream it. That was like over a year ago. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is one of the most talked about video games to this day. As a matter of fact, I made a video about it like a couple of weeks ago, so if you want to check it out. The way it revolutionized the open world genre is on par with some of the greats that came before it, which definitely makes it a great game. Metal Gear Solid 3 is a game that I've been wanting to play, but since they're making a remake, I mean, I might as well just wait for that. Kingdom Hearts. Rocket League, the first ever Steam game that I owned. Back when you still had to pay for it. Oblivion! Oblivion is a game that I've always wanted to play. And then I bought it and realized how outdated it was. It's one of those games that you really wish you were old enough to enjoy at the time of its release. Because once I got to the age where I could actually appreciate games like that, it was just... Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, having recently replayed it, I've come to appreciate the game a lot more. From its vast open world, with countless details,
well, ain't this a rare treat?
to the incredible cast of characters, RDR2 is one of the best open world games to date. Especially since I loved watching movies like Django or Hateful Eight. Playing RDR2 really does a great job scratching that itch. Is that the right term? Scratching that Wild Wild West itch. A Link Between Worlds was my first ever Zelda game, and I'm definitely planning on replaying it at some point. I kind of just wish that Nintendo would port these games already. Like, make an online shop for old Nintendo games. Just do something. I don't fucking know. This is one of the most underrated and creative Zelda games to date. The simplicity of just being able to turn into a 2D painting, sticking to walls, or even enemy shields Just absolutely fascinating. Escape from Tarkov. Escape from Tarkov is a game that I wanted to play, but my computer can't run it, so... Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is the first ever Souls game that I was able to finish, and it holds a dear place in my heart. From the Abyss Watchers, to the Nameless King, to the tree with balls, which you had to pierce. This game was fucking amazing. Minecraft is just automatically goated. Genuinely a good experience and just way too much fucking nostalgia connected to this game. As a matter of fact, the reason why I got into this YouTube game in the first place was because of a Minecraft YouTuber. Hey guys, Dan here from the Diamond Minecraft. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time again, instant classic. The atmosphere, the gameplay, the dungeons, everything about this game is just so fucking good. And I'm definitely gonna replay it at some point if Nintendo would just do me the fucking favor of porting. And yes, I understand that the N64 version is on the Switch. Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I want to emphasize that I really dislike turn-based combat. But the way people have been talking about this game has me really intrigued. Especially with there being talks of it actually competing for Game of the Year. So yeah, I'm definitely willing to give it a chance one day. The Last of Us. I don't think I need to emphasize how much I love this game. From the moment I first opened the game and looked at that loading screen, I just knew it was gonna be something special. It does an incredible job captivating the player. The story immerses you into its world and just makes you wanna invest in it. No two ways about it. It is definitely a masterpiece. CSGO. Now the thing about CSGO is I kind of paid for it as well. Horizon Zero Dawn. Look, when I tell you that I played the game, I'm not lying. It's just that I played The Witcher 3 right after, and now I can't remember anything about the fucking game. Like, Assassin's Creed. You know, I actually bought this game day one, but after playing it for like 5 seconds, I kind of just realized that the entire franchise must be way above my level of understanding. So I sold it right after seeing this. Apex Legends. Apex Legends just has to go to great. I love this game so much. And I have invested way too much time and fucking money in it. More money than I am actually willing to admit. It's one of the only games where I actually spent like over 500 hours on.
Check this out, I'm about to carry so goddamn hard. God.
Next to PUBG actually, which is right beside it. PUBG not only popularized an entire genre that still thrives today, but the gunplay was also way ahead of its time. Unlike games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, where recoil is basically non-existent, PUBG diversified the feel and control of each gun. With the addition of attachments, it complexified, what the fuck? It added a whole nother layer of complexity to the game. This game was an amazing experience, but due to its extremely slow-paced action, just couldn't compete with games like Fortnite or Apex. New Vegas, I have not played that game. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, when first released, wasn't really my thing. I've never really been a fan of the whole space exploration thing. I mean, I'm playing Starfield right now, and that's just... But No Man's Sky over the past couple of years has drawn quite a bit of my attention. From the horrible start to what seems to be like a pretty decent fucking game right now. I think it's a game that I'd definitely be willing to stream eventually, once I get to it. God of War 1, 2, and 3. Now, the original God of War trilogy was great. From their over-the-top fights to their insanely good and carefully thought out quick-time events. These are all good games, but they also, well, the formula was old. I mean, it's the very reason why I can't get into a game franchise like Devil May Cry, which has been using the same formula since 2001, the year I was fucking born. What the fuck, Devil May Cry? Not only do the new games allow players to relate more to the characters, because they've obviously been more humanized. I mean, Kratos went from being 8 foot tall to 6'4", which is 4 inches more than me and 10 inches more than you. Can you imagine being short? Risk of Rain 2. Wow. Now, Risk of Rain 2 is a lot of fun. For a bit. Especially during the time when they actually used to update the game. It's one of those games you can just play while watching a movie or a show. Or hey, maybe even this YouTube video. Wind Waker. Wind Waker is one of the few Zelda games that I'm really looking forward to playing. Unlike Spirit Tracks, I don't have to move Link with a fucking stick. And much like Breath of the Wild, the cel-shaded art style looks absolutely amazing. And if I ever do play it, I'll probably review it. I mean, I can already see it. Wind Waker in 2024. Horizon Forbidden West. A Way Out. Now, A Way Out is one of the best co-op experiences out there. Escaping prison with a friend is always fun. I don't know why I said that like I have the experience to back it up. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me today? This game offers an incredible co-op experience and delivers some of the funniest moments when played together with the right person.
Catch me! Oh, you're not holding the trigger. Why aren't you? You piece of shit!
Call of Duty Warzone. The year was 2020. Everyone was stuck at home, and then Warzone hit the market. The timing could not have been more fucking perfect. It had a challenging and fun BR. But on top of that, also had plunder for people who were more into an open world Warzone multiplayer experience. This game was probably the highlight of 2020, and it's something that the second game just could not live up to. Dragon Ball Xenoverse. This game was mid. Visually speaking, I love it when video games try different art styles. Doesn't mean it's gonna work for every game, and it definitely doesn't work with this one. I never was a fan of the metallic, glossy, whatever the fuck look. Which is why I like Kakarot so much, because it actually managed to retain that anime style. Turns out you can just do that and your game won't look as fucking dead as Xenoverse does. I like the idea of making my own character in a Dragon Ball game, but I have played Roblox games to do this a lot better. The Quarry. The Quarry is a really cool game. Another cinematic type of game, but this time with choices. It's got some really nice twists, and the way they structured the entire game is really just fascinating. The thing I like most about these types of games is how impactful small choices can be.
I will hook you right back up tomorrow.
Now don't get me wrong, the characters at times can look absolutely fucking lifeless. It's not something that will make me go, this game reminds me of, Assassin's Creed. Oh, shit. Far Cry 3. This game fills me... Hey, yo? With nostalgia. That's gotta be good. It's one of the first ever story-based games that I played, and having Vass as the main antagonist blew my fucking mind away. Much like Heath Ledger, who carried the Dark Knight while being the main antagonist, Michael Mando's performance as Vass carried the game.
Christopher, how are you doing today? That was not in the script. He's a comedian, he's improvising. He's a funny guy. Christopher! One time is funny, two times it's fucking annoying, no?
And no matter how many issues the actual game has, for its time, it was really good. Monster Hunter World. You know, Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. Well, I had a dream as well. To play a Monster Hunter game with realistic graphics, and that dream came to fruition with Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World was the first Monster Hunter game I actually took seriously. I played 4 and Cross before that, but with Monster Hunter World, I really decided to invest my time in it. They also did a collab with The Witcher 3, so it's automatically one of my favorite Monster Hunter games of all time, I guess. Bloodborne. This is another one of those games that I really enjoyed. FromSoft decided to go from their regular formula to a more fast-paced one, and fuck me, did it work. See, unlike most FromSoft games, Dark Souls, Demon's Souls, Elden Ring, where a lot of the people's primary source of defense comes in the form of a shield, in Bloodborne, you just dodge. Although they were nice enough to actually add in a shield for the people who wanted to use one, which was about this useful. Now this game is amazing through and through, but I gotta say, you do really feel the 30 FPS playing it. Now the problem with that is when the primary way of avoiding attacks is delayed in a FromSoft game, it really only ends up one way.
Yo, no, oh, yes, not today, God, not today.
Call of Duty Cold War. I wasn't a fan of its multiplayer. It felt like a step back from Modern Warfare 2019. And yes, I do understand that it's different studios producing the games. However, I did spend a lot of time playing their zombies mode. Now, although your round-based maps were alright, what really made me sink in my time was Outbreak. An open world zombies experience where you can just fuck around until round 5, when you inevitably die. Far Cry 4, now much like 3, it was an enjoyable experience. From being able to choose different paths, some of its really cool secrets like that one ending that no one believed to be true, and then you looked it up on YouTube and then you went like, wow, that's cool. It does resemble 3 a lot. It's basically like a sequel that isn't, well, it is a sequel that isn't a sequel. Does that make any sense? No. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Dead Space I have not played, and probably never will. God of War 2018. This game is a masterpiece, not only for somehow continuing the story of one of the most popular characters in gaming history who survived, but also for evolving past their basic formula, which was basically, by changing the way the game plays, they added challenge, and by changing the way the story is told, they added depth. No longer is the story an open book. Now you got fucking Kratos, who has a wife, and they had a kid who's... I'm afraid of you! Then some fucking kid shows up out of nowhere, who is her, and then fucking there's a giant snake from the future. Thor has fucking kids. What the fuck? This game is a masterpiece, and I'm definitely gonna make a video revisiting it. Revisiting it one day. Link's Awakening. Ass. Tried finishing it twice. Ass. Just Cause 3. I enjoyed the second game a lot. You could stand on moving planes, grapple cars chasing you to the floor. It's basically Spider-Man if he was Spanish, killing people and swearing. You missile! In other words, it's basically if Spider-Man was cool. So naturally, I'd love the third game. You know, a lot of people say good things come in threes. Spider-Man 3. But I didn't enjoy it. I mean, the main reason why I actually enjoyed the second game so much is because of how much younger I actually was when I played it. The Witcher 3. Now, if I were to be stranded on an island that magically had electricity, a television, and a console I could play on, I'd bring The Witcher 3. It basically has everything. Drama. Action. The game has sex. It doesn't get better than that. This game is a masterpiece and is my favorite game of all time. As a matter of fact, I've made it a tradition to play this game every year. What the fuck? And with them having updated the graphics, much like The Last of Us Part 1 has immortalized this game forever. Valorant! This is a game I know I could easily get into, but honestly watching the doc play it is just so much better.
There. So the 139 on that sober.
Reloading.
I didn't know that was my teammate.
Last player standing.
Oh,
Demon Souls. Demon Souls visually is one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen in my life. It's obviously a remake of the original, but they definitely did it justice. Now the thing I did not like about Demon Souls is that it did not challenge. It was extremely fucking easy. Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Rise is Capcom's answer to the one and only problem the Monster Hunter franchise ever had. Traversal. Starfield loading screens are a way more enjoyable experience than running around in this fucking game. So what does Capcom do? Here's a dog you can ride so you don't have to run around large maps with the slowest possible fucking movement speed known to mankind. Finally, a game moving forwards instead of back. Also, with the addition of the wire bug, they increased the pace of each fight, which in this day and age is definitely a must-have. Sekiro. Sekiro is a game I have not finished, so it'll automatically just go right over here. It is a game I am one day planning on finishing. much like this video, Candy Crush. Spider-Man 2018. Spider-Man 2018 is a game that truly makes you feel like you're Spider-Man. The Wolf Among Us. Now, The Wolf Among Us, it's an amazing game. By reimagining traditionally cheerful Disney and folk characters, seeing them in a darker setting not only breathes in new life into these beloved characters, but also introduces a fresh and compelling narrative. It is such a good game when played for the first time, and I am really excited to see how they've evolved with the soon release of the second game. Wii Sports. Now, as a gamer, my natural response to a game like Wii Sports would normally be, but seeing as this is one of their most sold video games, I guess I can't really speak. That being said, I would not touch this game with a 10-foot fucking pole. Battlefield 1 was a horrible experience. I'll just leave it at that. Ninja Storm. Now, I am going to put all of the Ninja Storm games into this one rating, because it's basically the same game with an ongoing story. And you know what? I like him. As a matter of fact, I never actually watched the anime. I kind of just discovered the story through the games. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, it has been a couple of months since the release of Tears of the Kingdom, and I still pretty much have the same thoughts on it as I did when I released my review.
Breath of the Wild set such a high standard for open world games, and then 6 years later, Tears of the Kingdom comes out, thank you Link, and just makes Breath of the Wild look like a first draft.
Resident Evil 2. This game was so fucking good. The only Resident Evil game I've played before this was 7, so when I went to Resident Evil 2, my expectations were pretty fucking low. But from its zombie-infested police station to one of the most iconic entrances in gaming history, this game blew me away. God damn. Kind of sad to see what the fuck they did with Resident Evil 3 though. Mario Maker. Mario Maker is a W. When it came to this game, the question was asked, how do you continue to innovate on a franchise you've been making video games for the past 40 years? And the answer,
Welcome back to Soup. Welcome back to Soup.
For a guy who is not a huge Mario fan, this game was good. Battlefield 2042. Now, my experience with Battlefield 2042 differs a lot from my experience with Battlefield 1. Because unlike Battlefield 1, I actually enjoyed this one. From its horrible start to what it is today, this game has definitely passed the test of time.
What's our status?
My only problem with it is that I did play it on an Xbox, because obviously, fuck you. And while the game is cross-platform, and on top of that, while the Xbox does support mouse and keyboard, it doesn't for... Call of Duty Vanguard was a miserable experience, and I have no good things to say about it. Control. This game is forgettable. The only thing that kept me playing is being able to throw rocks at people, and as soon as that got old, I quit. Modern Warfare 2019. This is one of the best Call of Duties I've ever laid my hands on. As a matter of fact, if I had a small tier list of every Call of Duty game I ever played in my entire life, it will look a little something like this. I played this game when Warzone first released during their multiplayer weekends, where you were able to play the multiplayer for free. Like, that shit was just amazing. It was some of the most fun I've ever had in an arcade shooter, and it will always be dear to my heart. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. To me, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is what Ninja Storm is to Naruto if it was one game. Amazing animations, great fucking combat, exploration is a thing, but overall this game was a dub. And if it get the same amount of content that Xenoverse 2 gets, it will be so much fucking bigger. God of War Ragnarok. This is the second and the third game combined into one game, which can work to its favor, but can also work against it. This game's story starts off extremely well, but by the end can leave you feeling like it wasn't enough. Some parts can feel rushed, and others just make you want to gouge your fucking eyes out. Though my criticism of this game does not take away from the overall experience, this game has so much content. From a huge variety of enemies to an incredible amount of challenging boss fights. On top of that, so many explorable areas combined with gameplay that is just aged like fine wine. This game is amazing and showcases some of the most iconic and emotional moments in the entire God of War franchise. The Witcher 3 DLCs. I don't think it's much of a secret that Hearts and Stones is kind of just alright. It's not something that I'd be too eager to replay, whereas with Blood and Wine, goddamn, They basically added a whole nother game on top of an already huge and immersive game. What the fuck? Red Far Cry 5 was a nice change of pace from Far Cry 4 and Primal. Unlike 4, it didn't feel too similar to 3, and unlike Primal, it didn't feel... Well, there are absolutely no similarities between those games.
Smart guy.
But I did really enjoy it. As a matter of fact, I feel like I enjoyed it to the point where I could put it on par with Far Cry 3. Valheim is an amazing experience, which I stopped halfway through because I desperately want to stream this game. And while I don't have any faith in my computer actually pulling through, I might just get away with streaming Valheim. You can't be that fucking shit, can you? Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 is another game that I was able to play for a short amount of time. And I really liked the combat. It had this very anime-esque feel to it, but since I wasn't able to finish it, I am going to put it at haven't played. Because I played like, what, 30 minutes to an hour of it? Life is Strange 2. Let me tell you something about this game. Life is Strange 2, much like The Wolf Among Us, is a game that is very fun to play for the first time. The story about two brothers forced to travel across the country was very well made. It kind of also helps if you have a little brother yourself, allowing you to relate more to the characters. It does have a lot of side characters, which narratively speaking makes a lot of sense, but from a player's perspective does leave you caring a lot less about the people you will come to meet. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is an incredibly beautiful game. It plays extremely well and tells a very captivating story about a samurai who's lost almost everything, which forces him to adapt. Something his samurai uncle, who's very samurai, obviously is not in agreement of. It's a very emotional and engaging game, and all in all, just a very solid experience. Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner is so much fucking fun. It's a game much like Apex, which is dominated by movement and fast-paced action. It isn't the longest game, but for the couple of hours you do get to play, it is very enjoyable. GTA 5. Now, I've completed GTA 5 multiple amounts of times, and it's one of those games you really wish you could just complete for the very first time again. I mean, the protagonists just work extremely well with each other.
I asked for a fair day's pay after a fair day's work. Then he kind of got a little angry, so I admit, I kind of got a little angry.
Did you kill him?
What kind of fucking animal do you take me for? No, I didn't kill him.
Oh,
But I did kidnap his wife!
And it's definitely up there with some of the greats. Hogwarts Legacy. This is a game I was really excited to play. Then I played it, and I wish I never did. The idea of an open world magic game was always intriguing to me. And being that this is the first game of this studio, they did a very good job. Just wasn't for me. It failed to captivate me, and so I left it in my PlayStation library. Because I actually went out of my way to pre-order the fucking... Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is a game I have not yet played, but I've seen a lot of people draw comparisons from Dark Souls, so I will probably give this game a try one day. Resident Evil 7 can suck the biggest dick. It's not a bad game, it's actually quite a good horror game. It just really wasn't my type. I wasn't a fan of its setting, and just the entire tone of the game set. They were going for more of a PT vibe, which I can respect, but overall, just not my kind of game. Rust. Rust was good, but is another one of those games I'd rather watch other people play. Dark Souls. The very first Dark Souls was alright. I played the later games before I got to play this one, and much to no one's surprise, it felt like a step back. Because it quite literally was a step back. I'd probably rank it a lot higher if it was my first Souls game, but because it's not... Jedi Fallen Order. This game was the answer to a question no one fucking asked. What if Dark Souls was Star Wars Souls? It was extremely easy, and for a Souls game will most definitely always equal to forgettable. GTA 4. Now, according to a lot of people, GTA 4 is a game that'll take a couple hours for you to get into, which number one is never a good sign, and number two is a point I did not reach. I'm sure it's good, and I heard a lot of good things about its DLCs, but it's not something I ever got to, and probably something I never will. Second Son. Second Son was a fun game, and much like the first two, tests the morality of players. It isn't something that would shock the world, but it is still a pretty cool, fun little game. The Last of Us Part 2 is an incredible game, and I did speak on it in one of my reviews, which I will, I guess, also leave in the description below. I do like the first game more, but this game does have the dodge button. I'm not gonna speak too much on it, but basically to summarize, incredibly brutal gameplay and really creative story, and it's one of my all-time favorite games. It's depressing, but it's extremely good. Inside. Now, Inside is an indie title from, I believe, the same creator of Limbo. It doesn't necessarily tell a story, it kind of just makes you go. It's a really cool experience and something very different from your usual video games. It is a completely silent game and yet just drowns you in its atmosphere. It's a very enjoyable game and I think that everyone should try it out at least once. Cyberpunk 2077. From one of the most memed games to next week solidifying its positions as one of the best video games to come out in the past couple years. I am really looking forward to playing Phantom Liberty. And even before that, just the base game, I really enjoyed. Seeing Keanu Reeves in the trailers hyped me up, but I never really expected him to be such an integral part of the actual story. It was an incredible experience, and once again, I am really looking forward to playing Phantom Liberty. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Kingdom Come Deliverance is an incredibly ambitious game. It attempts to capture realism, which it does to a certain degree, from a nice and complex combat system to a world that throws you way back into that time period. This is an amazing game. It's got its moments and it's got its moments. I mean, it is the first game of Warhorse Studios, and unlike Hogwarts Legacy, this game actually managed to captivate me. And I am really looking forward to seeing what they do next. Fingers crossed for a second game. Mario Kart 8. Now I am just gonna put this out there. I'm naturally fucking gifted. It's the only racing game I can actually bear to play. I just play it sometimes, and somehow, whenever I do, I'm just the best. Just talent, I guess. Good game though. Metal Gear Solid 5. This is one of the best stealth games to date. It allows you the freedom to approach a situation in almost any way you want, stealthily maneuver around enemy camps, go in guns blazing, or even rocket arm. Story-wise, that's like asking me to tell you the history of our universe and every universe around it. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but gameplay-wise, it's versatile and any other tile that has the same meaning. Metal Gear Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 is gonna go down as one of the best action-adventure games to date. Great voice acting, amazing puzzles, these over-the-top moments, and yes, Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
It's an incredible game that could still compete with most video games coming out today. I mean, seriously, there are more emotions in some of the NPCs you pass by than there are in Starfield's characters. What the fuck? Days Gone. Days Gone was an incredibly fun and unique experience. Days Gone's trailers were an incredibly fun and unique experience. See, the lead up to this game had me so hyped. There were zombies around every corner and goddamn was I ready. Then the game released. Then I was never hyped for another video game ever again. Majora's Mask is another Zelda game that I am very interested in, which I have not yet played because of the lack of a 3DS. Also, don't start with an N64 bullet, I swear. Resident Evil 4 is also a game I have not yet played. I probably will though at some point. Fortnite. Now I played Fortnite at the start, and if you only played Fortnite after they removed friendly fire, then goddamn did you miss out.
What'd you say? You called me a bitch, huh? 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 Would you? Who? Oh, right inside. Right inside.
Like I said earlier, Fortnite took a different approach to the BR genre. It was easier on the eyes, ran a lot smoother, and played a lot quicker. It is definitely not a surprise that it took over PUBG so quickly. They've continued to innovate so much since, especially with their live events. Paper Mario. Until Dawn. Now, Until Dawn is the first game of Supermassive Games. It quickly established itself as one of the best cinematic horror experiences, allowing players, much like their later games, the freedom of choice. It is one of the video game greats and is definitely an experience everyone needs to have. Metal Gear Rising, goddamn, this game is old. Metal Gear Rising was crazy. You basically went from doing this in Metal Gear and then to this in Rising. It is an amazing hack and slash, amazing combat, amazing boss fights, and of course... this is an absurd game, and much like God of War, it does embrace that absurdity. Walking Dead 1. Now, I love The Walking Dead Season 1. It's another father-daughter type of adventure, which much like The Last of Us, is really captivating. And for its time, it is really up there with some of the greats. As for the later seasons, 3 and 4, I have absolutely nothing good to say about these games. Twilight Princess has been alright so far. I was playing it, but did put a stop to it because of the release of Starfield. But to summarize my experience so far with Twilight Princess...
what a legendary moment. Let's fucking go. Ocarina of Time versus Twilight Princess. Let's go. Time for the finishing... Did I just miss? Did I? No, wait. Let me try. No, wait. No. Do it. You're not doing it. You're not Oh my fuck.
I'll just leave it at haven't played for now because I'm not too deep into the game. Dying Light is mid. I tried to complete the game twice and I was just bored halfway through it. So I really have nothing else to say about the game. Outlast! I love Outlast. From the atmosphere set the moment you step out of your car to the game's setting, dang. A mental asylum in a horror game is like putting 2 and 2 together. It just works, and it is perfectly showcased in this game. Now, I'm not a fan of the horror genre at all, but when it comes to it, this is one of my favorite games, horror games of all time. Overwatch is another game I paid for. Resident Evil 8, this being a direct sequel to Resident Evil 7, gave me a lot of doubts. But when I touched it, okay, maybe not touch. But when I played it, it blew my mind. Everything I disliked about Resident Evil 7 has been fixed in Resident Evil 8. From its vast map with huge castles to even huger... This is one of those instances where the sequel just completely outshines the first game. Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor had a really cool feature, the Nemesis system.
I am your end, Talk. Come, face me with dignity.
It's the highlight of the game and something that truly revolutionized gaming forever. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see all of the future games we're gonna get featuring this. Oh. They patented it. Starfield. Okay, so I've been clowning Starfield this entire video. But what do I actually think about the game? Well, if we go back a couple minutes, I said this about GTA 4. GTA 4 is a game that'll take a couple hours for you to get into. And it pretty much applies to Starfield because much like GTA 4, it takes a lot of time before you actually get to any good parts of that game. But unlike GTA 4, according to a lot of people, it'll take at least 5 to 12 hours. Wow. And once again, much like GTA 4, it is something that I have not reached. And I mean, shit, when it comes to Starfield, I probably never will. I mean, never say never, but probably never. I guess I will still put it at haven't played. Unlike GTA 4, I do see myself maybe playing this in the future. Again. Skyward Sword. Now this game features one of the best Zelda songs to date. And that's about it. I mean, I guess I like some of the boss fights. The different way of fighting is a bit of a hit or miss, especially coming off of Tears of the Kingdom. It's a game that hasn't properly hooked me in, but I guess much like Starfield, we will see what happens in the future. Elden Ring. Now, Elden Ring was insane. From your typical linear style Souls-like to all of a sudden being able to explore an entire open world, Elden Ring broke through what everyone had already thought to be the peak when it comes to Souls-like games. From the map, which when you first play, seems like it never fucking ends, to its huge arsenal of weapons, boss fights, this game is the peak of what a Souls-like is. I mean, until the next game comes out, of course, which will probably be exclusive to the next-gen consoles and twice as big. Roblox. I spent an ungodly amount of time playing this. Anyway, that was it for the ultimate tier list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Guys, I really appreciate you watching this entire video, if you even made it this far. I spent a lot of time making this video, as you may know, which again I also want to apologize for, because a tier list video should definitely not take this fucking long to make. Anyway, it's finally done and I am off to the next project. You know what's really fucked up? When I started this video, Spider-Man 2 was 50 days away. But anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Alligator. No. I will see you next time. I will see you in the next video. Bye. Even the sun fucking disappeared because of that horrible fucking outro. God damn.